All right, we are on air. Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Roundtable, and I've got myself, Jared, and we got Gideon here, and Mike will be here in a few minutes. He's running a few minutes late. That's what I guess happens when you're a digital nomad. Sometimes you gotta get to a hotspot. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's doing yoga or something. He's got to finish up, but he'll be here in a couple minutes. And today we're gonna get started with our hot seat of Gideon. So a little bit of background, you probably already know Gideon, but he's a phenomenal copywriter. He's actually pretty humble. So if I'm doing the intro, because if I had him do the intro, he'd be like, "Nah, I'm not the best. I'm all right, And it's like, no, he's awesome. So he's a great copywriter. He was the first staff copywriter. I guess recently I saw you change that from first staff copywriter to like second copywriter because I guess you came after Neville. But
Yeah.
anyways, and I like how you said it. On your intro recently, I saw something you said where you were the voice behind Chief Sumo from '09 to 10 or 10 to 11, whatever time, 11 to 12. I don't remember. Whenever
Yeah,
it was
11,
you
12.
said 11 to 12. There we go. Which is what I remember. Like that's why I loved when I became friends with you because I was like, dude, you're Chief Sumo. Like you cost me so much money. Those emails, like I still have those emails archived that I can use. Like anytime I'm just feeling like because I'm not, I do some, I did some copywriting. I do a lot of copywriting for my business. Like anytime I feel like creatively constipated, like I go back to those old AppSumo emails and read, about Chief Sumo. And it was so cool to learn that was you because I always pictured Neville writing them because, from doing his copywriting course, he talked about how he did emails. And recently you've started doing like email marketing for clients, correct? Like autoresponders and setting up their all that kind of stuff, and to be able to take advantage of their email list, and so they're not just sitting there with a list of 50,000 customers, never taking advantage of it. Correct?
Right.
Cool. Yeah, and so I know he's really helped Mike and myself. So Mike getting Paleo Right started, me getting Business Dev Hero started. He's really helped counsel us of what to do. He actually had us switch from MailChimp to another service, which we'll talk about. And he's kind of really helped us figure all this out. In fact, I was just asking him a question before it started. And I was like, wait, pause that answer. Wait till we get on air. You can give the answer. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. Do you want to say anything first or do you want to jump into the questions?
Yeah, looking back on those AppSumo emails, I don't like them.
No, I love them. Man.
No, I mean, like, I don't know, just, I guess, looking back at your writing, it's like, I feel like I can do way better now than
Yeah.
back then, so.
Well, and I think a big thing too, because I'm on your current email list and I get your emails you send out, and I'm thinking maybe part of it is because then you were writing as Chief Sumo, which was this fake version of Noah Kagan for AppSumo, where now you write as yourself, and I can see the difference. Like, so one, I can see the quality has jumped up of what you're doing, the way you use your words and whatnot, but really, like you're yourself. You're Gideon, the entrepreneur dad, where before you were being Chief Sumo. So I could see that too, because you probably looked at the old ones. Not only do you cringe because it's old, but it was like, you were having to be someone else versus now you're like, no, I get to be myself. And so that maybe that's part of it. And part of it too is just like, it's always hard to look back at
Well,
old work.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, but it was like, I feel like it was pretty corny, a lot of stuff that I wrote,
They were
and
super
like,
corny, but they were effective, man. Like I got to the point where like I'm not joking. Like I would get an email from AppSumo, and I could see by the time like some of them I wasn't interested in, right? Like if it was for like a software or something, like I just knew I wasn't interested in, I was safe and I could just read it for enjoyment and like to
yeah,
learn from it. But if it was like anything about like entrepreneur, the courses, or any of that kind of starting a business, like I'd be like, okay, I'm looking at my phone. I got this email. I get paid in 3 days. I can't read this email until I get paid. So I know I'm going to be buying whatever it is. And it got like dangerous there for a while where I was like, before I started my own business and I was just working a regular job, I'd have to like save some of those emails until I actually had money because I knew you were going to cost me money. Good times. All right, so I guess let me start off really quick just by asking because everyone kind of knows you. I mean, maybe the entrepreneur group knows you more as like the email marketing guy, but I knew you as the copywriting guy, and a lot of people knew you as the copywriting guy, even though you were writing copy for sales emails. What kind of had you do the shift where you decided I don't want to write landing pages or emails as much? I want to like be more involved and help people with the entire process. Like, was there anything specifically that made you decide to do that, or was it just an opportunity thing, or kind of how'd you make that shift?
um, yeah, there wasn't like a specific moment or anything like that. It was just from writing sales pages and trying to write like landing pages and all this stuff. I was like, this is a lot of work. There's like so much to think about. But then when you get to write an email, it's like you get to be personal. You get to be a person. Like you get to just write how you want to write instead of like thinking about, you know, is this word going to convert better than this word for this like description block for this landing page, or like what should I like name this the subscribe button, like submit or like get it now or get this free report. Like I'm like I don't want to think about that stuff. So like in emails I just get to write, and I was like screw it, like I'm just gonna focus on one thing, right? Instead of like trying to do like sales pages for one person, landing pages for another, emails for somebody else. It's like just do straight emails.
Yeah. The one thing I love about like you and your mentality, because marketing in general is an area where like sometimes can get a bad reputation, and copywriting specifically, where there's like the regular copywriting. Well, there's bad copywriting, as in just not good quality, and there's like good copywriting, but then that can break off between like responsible, as in like you have a good product and you're just like selling people on the features and benefits, and it is actually going to help them, like those Chief Sumo emails, and I would buy that stuff. That stuff helped me. I was happy. Like AppSumo had that lifetime guarantee, and the only time I ever used it was if I bought something that was like something I wasn't interested in, but I was like, well, let me give it a try. Let me see, maybe I want to get in programming. And I was like, no, I don't have time. But like, I never refunded anything because of it was like, oh, I felt tricked. But then you have like the darker side of it, right? And there's like the darker side of like tricking with stuff and using specific words and stuff to trick people into like buying crap, basically. Right. And I remember getting some good advice from you, and just kind of not so much even advice, but just like it was refreshing to hear your mentality when we were both working at a company, which we can't really mention because we're both like under pretty strict NDAs for like the next 2 years or 5 years.
I gotta go back and read that contract, because I don't
actually signed and agreed. Yeah. No, I remember there was, when we signed it, there was like other people in the company that were freaking out because it, like, the way it was worded made it sound like you were no longer allowed to do your job, like profession. So like
your specialty.
Exactly. Yeah. So you came in as a copywriter, and the way it was worded, it made it sound like, okay, so for the next, I can't remember if it's 3 years or 5 years or whatever, like you're not allowed to make money as a copywriter anymore outside of our company. And people were like, whoa, like, they're like, no, that's not what we meant. Okay, we'll rewrite it. We'll resend it out. Like, we just mean like you can't take trade secrets and you can't like take processes developed here. It's like, sure, that's what you meant. But anyways, I remember because I came on before you, and I came on as a senior project manager and then a junior copywriter, and then you got brought on just as like a full-time senior copywriter. And I was writing copy for an email sequence to go out. There's a whole webinar. It was like the full-on sales funnel, from a Facebook ad to they opted in for a free offer.
Oh, you can't say that.
No, that's like standard.
That's trade secret. That's proprietary stuff.
But that basic sales funnel of add to all the email sequences to the webinar, and then like another email sequence to sell them, the offer of what was offered in the webinar. And I was writing it, and I was the junior, so like the project manager was like working with her, and so she's like, okay, here, write this copy. And then like I was writing it, and then she was kind of finished, because I didn't really know a lot about the client, just enough to do what we need to do. And then like the boss was like, hey, you should read this book, like, you're talented, but like here's some stuff. And I was like, oh cool, I get to learn. I can be a better copywriter, even though that's like a secondary skill of mine. I've made a lot of money off of it, so I'll learn. And she like gave me some books, and one of them was called Cashvertising. And I started reading it, and I remember talking to you. I was like, hey man, and we're having this conversation, and then you can stop me if you don't feel comfortable talking about it. But I remember asking you about it, like, have you read this? What do you think? And your response, I don't know if you remember, but you were like along the lines of like, I'm not big into like the trickery stuff. Like, I like to, if it's a good product, I like to just sell it with a story, talking about all this stuff. Like, I don't like to use this scientific method of tricking someone. And I know you can elaborate on that, but I brought that up to say, like, you're like a solid copywriter and marketer. You're not like reading articles on like the newest way that like people are falling for this new headline trick right now. And then in 3 months, it'll be a new trick that you're doing to get these things. Like you're getting actual results for your customers. You're writing good content based on their stuff. And from talking to you and hearing some of your stories with your clients, like you actually help them a lot of times make their product better sometimes, because you'll be going through it and you'll be to do the copy and do the process. You're like, hey man, like, you have a hole in your product, like this is going to be an issue. And they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. So kind of what's your overall mentality before we get into like specific questions? Like, what is your theory and your approach to copywriting? Like, is it something that you're like tricking? I don't want to say tricking, but is it like, do you see copywriting as a way to kind of like guide people into doing something that maybe they wouldn't have already done? Or is it more of to educate them on like, oh, you were already looking for this and now we're going to help you solve your problem? Or kind of like, what's your theory and stuff behind copywriting? And I guess email marketing.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of all of that, right? It's educating, getting them to understand. It's connecting like their pain to your solution, or having them realize it. So like, you know, like in Eugene Short's like level of awareness thing, right? Like going from like not aware at all to like highly aware.
Yeah.
And so depending on where like, you know, the audience is at, it's like, it's just connecting them to like why they should like buy or use whatever it is that you're selling. But I don't like you said, like the whole trickery stuff, right? Or like clickbait. I fucking hate clickbait. Like, and it's still, I mean, it's not as prevalent now, but it's still happening. Like the whole, this cow threw a ball with its tail. You won't believe what happens next. It's like, no, I don't want to, like, why would I click on that? Like, it's not good anymore, you know? Yeah, like I stopped reading. I don't know. I always heard that you should like always be studying and learning about copywriting. But like I stopped reading all these articles and stuff like that because it was just like there's just too much information, man. And everybody's got like a new tactic or like a redesigned old tactic or a new like top 10 ways to like persuade your audience type of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, like I like Eugene Schwartz stuff, his Breakthrough Advertising. That was a really good read. Joe Sugarman, to get like the principles of copywriting, like structure and all that. And a few others. I mean, but mainly just I like writing the stories, you know, because I mean, how easy is it to like, hey, let me tell you a story, and then your ears perk up, right? Like you want to hear a story. Everybody wants to hear stories, right? That's why we watch movies and TV and read books.
True.
You know. So, you know, like, or like every good story starts with, hey, here, hold my beer, right? Like, stories are fun, you know, and they're interesting as long as it's a good story, then yeah. But just simple, like, hey, here's what I did, here's how I fixed my own problem, like a story of how I fixed my problem, like using this method, and I know that I'm not the only one out there, so if you have the same problem, like this can help you. Like, it's not that hard, right?
Correct.
It's just finding the audience that actually has that problem to read your stuff.
So let's do a quick overview again, and then we'll jump into some of these questions that we've had people from the group ask, and I've got some questions myself, and then once Mike jumps on, I'm sure he'll have some questions. So now you're doing, where before you did specific, like I'm writing an email, you know, like AppSumo would say, hey, here's a product, you go out and research it and you write, you know, an email. And then you were doing like landing pages for clients where it's kind of similar. You consult with them, you figure out what they're offering, and you'd write like, you know, long form landing page. And then you write, you know, your own emails and stuff. But now that you're doing a little more than just the copying, you're doing like the marketing side of it and helping them build their sales funnels. I remember one of the ideas when you first came up with it was that there's so many like big companies that'll have, you know, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 people on an email list that, like, I mean, I used to work at a car lot, and this was this way. We had literally hundreds of thousands of people on an email list with active emails, and it was like 4 times a year they'd send out like, sorry, Nick, email blast. And it'll make sense more in a second. And like an email blast, and it was like these really just horrible, like HTML, tons of graphics, pictures of cars, and like, you know, attractive women next to cars, not like, you know, but like in pantsuits or whatever. It was weird. It was like never even seen a salesperson look like that. Anyways,
It's
they
basically
send
one of
these
the
out.
Auto Trader
Yeah,
magazine.
exactly. Like that kind of stuff, and like the clip art, and you're like, no one here
Yeah.
looks like that, you know. And so, and they would send them out like, oh, we're having a Memorial Day sale, or like I remember here in this area, Cinco de Mayo was always big, and we'd have like a taco truck with like free tacos and blow ups and stuff, and it's like, oh, we're having this big event, but like they were horrible. Like there was never any good writing, and then the fact of like they didn't have specific sequences. So even as the salesman in the internet department, we had like this list that we were supposed to like manually send, but they were like these just one size fits all, like no other than like you change their name and you change like the year, make, and model of the car that you know
Mhm.
they're talking
Yeah.
about. Like it's just one size fits all. Honestly, the only one that was any good and actually had the best open rate was like the throwaway one. Like after 6 months of like follow up, it was like this person is probably blocked you already, so you might as well just send out this like crazy unprofessional email called alligators. And it was our favorite email. Like we started sending it like way sooner than we were supposed to, because it was basically like, hey, we haven't heard from you forever, like so you probably gotten eaten by alligators because you've not responded to any of our emails, so get back to me and let me know. And it's like a multiple choice, and it was like send flowers and you know like and to help console my family. There's like all these different options. Oh, I just lost my phone. I haven't got around to, you know, getting back to you yet. And there was like one kind of like legit like respond back to us, but the other was just like funny things like that, like send flowers or
Yeah.
don't bother. There was nothing left by the time the alligators were done, you know, like just funny stuff like that. And that one got like the best open rate, but it was that one like wasn't people weren't even supposed to see, because it was like 6 months after they had actually walked in the lot and already had bought in a car probably just
Yeah.
to like for whatever. And it's such a waste because they have all these people, and people would come in and they'd be like hot looking for a car, and then like our process we go through, and they send these horrible emails, and we'd have these phone scripts, and by the time we finally got a hold of them, like, oh, I already bought a car. I actually went like 2 days later. Versus if we had a good autoresponder where we like just pay someone to come in and actually think, okay, here's like our 6 main scenarios of customers, and then like write those out based off of like those target avatars, right? And then we could put people on those autoresponders, and they would have actually been specific to what they were talking about. I mean, we could have had one in Spanish for that demographic because that's a big in this area. We could have had like, you know, different ones. Like the people who would come in to buy the Mazdas were like a specific kind of person. Like we could have written it in their language, done some research, and that's basically what you're doing, right? You're helping companies who have email lists and not really any clue how to make money, and they're kind of wasting the potential to actually make money off of them. Is that correct?
Yeah, so helping with the segmentation of their lists, right? Because like you said, so you get somebody who's coming in for like a Mazda Miata, somebody completely different going in for like a van, right? Like they have different interests and tastes and like what they're going to be wanting at the moment. So it's like you have a list of like a whole bunch of like Mazda Miata lovers, and then you're sending out like a generalized email saying like, hey, check out this van, it's $5,000 off, and it can like do groceries and take kids to soccer. Like, who's gonna open that or read it, or like it's such a waste.
True. Yeah. Yeah, you have to know, and you have to like you can't just have a one size fits all. So it's like first you have to have your autoresponder, but then you actually have to know what to put on it, but then you have to know who to send it to, because otherwise you're just completely wasting your time there.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I wonder how that would be like a super complex, maybe not that complex of an autoresponder, because then it'd be like they would come onto the lot, they put down their email address. Then if they don't come back, you send out an reminder email about the car that they were looking at like 3 days later. And then if they click on the link to see if the price has changed or anything like that, then they get put onto a different autoresponder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be interesting because there's so many variables, because you know you got different types of people. You like you said, the different actions. So like, because one thing that happened, I was in the internet department, and so I was basically a human autoresponder is what we were supposed to do. So it was like you could have that all automated though, but like you said, so a lot of times we get like a lead in, and they're looking for the Mazda Miata, and then like we send them quotes and everything, and then like 2 hours later we get like another lead for like a Ford F-150, and we're like, you obviously have no clue what kind of car you're just starting to think about getting a car, and you're like, do I get the little sports car or do I get the truck, you know? But yeah, if you could go in there as you sit down with the sales managers or whatever company it is, right? They know their target and they know their product, and then you know how to obviously communicate to people. You could sit there and go, okay, here's how we need to break this off. This is how we should have multiple customer segments. And then based on what, you know, the research and what you're telling me is like, then these different actions. So if they do this, it goes to this or whatever. But I mean, that's for you that you're like, oh, that would be kind of fun. Like that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it is fun.
But I mean, if you're a sales manager or like the owner of a car lot, you're like, I don't want to deal with that. Like I don't even know how to barely send an email. Like, and I'm saying this from experience. Like a lot of like the sales managers, they're not technology guys. Like they have an iPhone 4 and they're proud that they can send a quote off of it, you know, and they're like, I'm, you know, technology. I sent someone a quote from my iPhone. Like, it's, okay, whatever, you know. So yeah, I guess that would be one thing. But so with that kind of background, what you do, we'll just kind of jump into a little bit some of these questions because we posted this in our Entrepreneurs Roundtable group, which if you're not a part of, you should go join. Go over Facebook, search Entrepreneurs Roundtable, and ask to join. And we have this entire group, back-end group that supports this. And so today, a lot of these questions are coming straight from it. So the reason I said sorry, Nick, is Nick Berry from the group posted, I would like Gideon to address the terrible use of the phrase email blast. Can we start a campaign to kill it? And then I went and used it in the interview. See, but to me, like email blast means like, I know it's probably different for you, but for me, like I think of email blast, I think of like old school, like you're blasting your list with like a generic, like graphics heavy HTML email that no one's going to read. Like that's what I think of as email blast. That's why I said it for the car lot thing.
Well, what else would you call it? Or what would you call it?
Well, I mean, MailChimp calls it a campaign. You send out a campaign, and that's what I'm used to because up until just recently, so since 2009, I think I've been using, you know, MailChimp, and like, again, I don't, you know, it's like, to me, email blast is like spam. Like, oh, I'm going to spam everyone and hope to get some, like, no, I'm going to, like I did this last night. I needed to contact 12 people about the interview for my thing. I didn't send the same message. It took me forever. I was like, oh, it'll take me like 15 minutes. I'll send it out. It took forever because I wrote out a separate for each person. I talked about their business and why I want to interview them. Yours was easy because it's like, yo, hey, you want to do this? Here's the link. How can we haven't filled it out yet? And same with Mike. But like everyone else, like I took time, you know, like, so like my spammy message, it took like 10 minutes per message because I was like, okay, let me remind myself, who is this person? I had people for one thing that I've developed over the last couple of years, and it took forever. So like to me, that's not spam. That's like even though I worked off of like a quick little template I wrote, like it took forever to customize it to the person. Versus if I took this, just, hey man, I'm doing this. Would you do that? You want to fill this out and then send that off to everyone? It takes 10 minutes. So that's why I think it was email blast. Is like, oh, I'm going to put a blast together. I have 50,000 people on this list. I don't even know who these people are. Some of them haven't got emails from me in like 6 months. I don't even know how active it is. I'm just going to blast this thing out there that we're having to sell. Versus like, to me, like I think of like is a campaign, because you go in, you create a new campaign, you set it up, you write, you know, your email. It's very specific to your customer. You got a clear call to action. You're educating, so that way like they read it and they're like, oh man, that was really good. It's valuable whether they buy it or not. Like, so that's, I don't know, I guess that's, I see it as a difference. But if you like the word blast, then keep blasting.
Well, no, okay. So like for me, like I'm not the best at, you know, having definitions to words, but so like campaign, right? Isn't that like ongoing, right? So like, wouldn't an autoresponder be more of a campaign than a single?
No, you're totally right. A campaign is a military term, and it's like, you know, an ongoing for now. But that's just what MailChimp calls it. So like there's nowhere to click to send an email. You click to create a new campaign. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe because like
maybe it feels good. Maybe it feels better.
Yeah, or maybe because they like a military campaign. I don't know. Is it because it's like that's not the whole war? That's like we have a campaign to go take this beachhead. And right. So maybe it's like there's a campaign to sell. We're gonna send this email to go in there and to like, you know, sell this thing, and then that campaign's over. I don't know. Maybe we should have, you know, MailChimp on here and ask them why they chose that word. What does Active Campaign use? I can't remember because I'm new to it. They don't say campaign, do they?
I have no idea.
I have it open. Hold on.
I don't even look at it. I just like
It's
I just click the
campaigns.
button. I just click the
It
button.
is. Yeah, it's campaign. So apparently that's the new email blast is campaign. So
Okay,
there
well
you
there you
go,
go.
Nick. It's
Yeah.
already being done. Someone's already started that for you. Okay, our next question, a little more serious of a question here. That was fun though. From Dara, I'm horrible with names. Kalio. We just signed up for MailChimp since they allow for free access. What are your thoughts about MailChimp? Are there other platforms that are free/low cost that are attractive, easy to use, effective?
I like MailChimp. I do. I like MailChimp. I've tried a few. MailChimp, GetResponse. I think I tried Constant Contact, ActiveCampaign. Um, there's this thing called ConvertKit by Nathan Barry. Nathan Barry? Um, yeah, no, I like MailChimp because for me, it was like the easiest to use. Like Aweber was just no offense, Aweber, but it was just like the back end was like really ugly, and I just couldn't really figure out how to like put things together. But I mean, any of the email service providers you use are gonna like have a learning curve. But MailChimp made it like, I don't know, more fun to like explore like what it could do and things like that. The free account's great. I think it's, what is it, up to 2,000 subscribers?
2,000 contacts, 12,000 emails a month.
Right.
I just checked the other day so that's how I know.
Yeah, it's great, but then you don't get autoresponders, right? And that was the thing that I wanted the most because I wanted to put in autoresponders. And so like $10 a month is not bad, man, for 500 contacts.
Yeah. Well, and then if you do the $10 plan, then it drops down to 500 unlimited emails, but 500 contacts. But then you get the autoresponders and the split testing. So
yeah, I think it's worth it. Well, I mean, I guess just build your list up to 500 in the first place instead of 2,000.
Well, yeah, that's a good goal. Like if you're just starting out 500, that's an awesome number to have.
Yeah.
So
I don't even have 500 subscribers.
Could you keep?
I don't want to talk about
like over personal emails that are like amazing, but then like some people get uncomfortable because I think that makes them like reflect too much on their own life. So they're like, I don't need this right now. I'm out.
Yeah, dude, I had like 100, I had like 210 subscribers at one point, and then I'm down to like 169, 168 or something like that.
Yeah. So.
And I barely email too.
That's the thing though. So like you just wrote that last email about frequency. So you
and I had 3 people unsubscribe after that.
Yeah, which is ironic. But
hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. So really quick, what is your? I mean, some people are probably wondering that now. Like, what is your? Go into that a little bit about frequency of emails.
Oh well, I mean, to finish up Dara's question about the other. So like, I switched over to ActiveCampaign. It's the same price. It's like $10, and you get
500.
Is it 500?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 500 subscribers or contacts, autoresponders, and all that. But like, I like their autoresponders or automations way more than MailChimp. So like, the problem that I had with MailChimp was that while the autoresponders and like setting all that stuff up was really easy to do and it works, you couldn't do other things like, okay, I've ranted about this before with you guys about the whole lists, right? You have to have like multiple lists.
Oh, it's the worst.
And then it's not easy to transfer them, right, to like your main list and stuff like that, and then have everybody tagged on there as to like where they originally came from or like what lead magnet they subscribe to. So it's not easy to manage the list on MailChimp. But with ActiveCampaign, it's like you can put them on automation. So let's say you have like your master list, and then you have like your opt-in list for some PDF. So anytime somebody subscribes to your PDF opt-in, you can tag them with PDF. They go through your autoresponder, then you can set it once they go through your autoresponder, they automatically get added to your master list so that they don't get any more autoresponders. So this way, you can have your opt-in list that's on an autoresponder, and then your master list that you can send out your campaigns to, right? So they're not getting like multiple emails in the same day, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
so I haven't been tagging, so I need to say, I was just thinking that the other day. No, I was just thinking that because I was like, okay, wait, so I have one autoresponder and then it dumps them on the master list, but then how do I know if they've already gotten this other email or whatever? So you're saying the tagging is the way to fix
Yeah.
that? Okay.
So you tag them, and then that way, having them tagged, it's like, let's say you have multiple services. So let's say for me, it's copywriting, funnel creation, and email marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I write about the three different topics. And then so I have three different opt-ins for the, like lead magnets. Like one's like learn how to do copywriting, one's learn email marketing, one's learn funnel creation. Well, now you can when they all get put onto your master list, if you're writing about a particular topic, you can just send the people who care about copywriting the copywriting stuff because they're tagged. So now you can get even more personalized. Okay. So like weight loss, for example, you got men and women, right? I mean, if you're like talking about this, I don't know, sorry if this is like sexist or whatever, like cranberry juicing, right? Because every once a month you feel a little bloated, and it's good to drink cranberry juice. And here's a good, few recipe tips, right? Like you're not gonna send that out to men, right? Like they don't care about that shit.
Oh, okay. So how would it be if I had this all tagged like this? I go to create a campaign. How would that look? Like if I'm like in the actual doing it. Does that make sense?
You mean like when you're creating the actual campaign, like how would you segment them?
So I have them segmented, and I'm sending a campaign out.
Yeah, so you would pick, it asks you, like, which list do you want to use, and then it asks you add a segmentation, just like we did with the MailChimp thing. It's like add the segmentation, it's like those who match, or like names who match, or tags who match, and then you put in the field, the variable.
Okay.
And then you can segment, so if you got male and female tags, you can segment male. So.
You should do like a quick, like one of those quick time videos where you're like, hey, this is what I talked about. Let me just show you real quick what I meant, and just do a screenshot thing and like put it in the group or something.
Yeah, that'd be good because
I'm very visual. Like I have to see stuff,
Yeah.
Like I have mine all set up like what you're talking about, but it doesn't stay with each contact. So like I've got different lists, so I know like what opt-in forms and stuff they're coming in, so I can track like which ads and which opt-in forms are actually working based on the way I have them set up.
Mm-hmm.
But so it works at first, but at some point after the autoresponder campaign is done, they get dumped onto like my master list, and then I lose that. So I have it for the segmentation, but not for them. So the tagging would follow them as a person. So then if I want to email my master list, I could pick just the people with this tag, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. That's on the list for this week. I got to go back and set that up. Cool. Mike, did you have a follow-up question, or before I jump to the next one? Mike is.
Did it freeze?
Just for a second.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
No, you guys froze.
Froze.
All right.
Okay, the next question was from Nick again, Nick Berry. He said, "What are your thoughts?" It's kind of specific, but basically he's saying like, "What are your thoughts on using the free like MailChimp or like these kind of services versus like the more complex where you're setting stuff up on the server yourself?" Or do you have a thought on that? Keep it simple. Maybe that's your thought.
I don't. I haven't heard of. What was it? GetTrip?
Yeah.
He's asking about GetTrip. Yeah, I didn't realize just how many different like email marketing platforms there are. There's like a ton, and I haven't even heard of like half of them. Just only like the major players. But I don't have anything to add to that.
So you don't have any experience with like the super customized like Amazon server, all that? I've heard stuff, but it just seems.
Yeah, I tried it once. Yeah, it's super complex. But I guess like the pricing is really good, right? Because it's like they're like super cheap, and then dude, there's like way too many criterias with the Amazon Web Service stuff. It's like you set that up, and then you have to like get what is it, like approved, so that you can send out like I think like 2,000 emails or something at the beginning, and then if you don't get any complaints or whatever, like they keep upping your account so that you can send out more, and then like your IP address gets verified, is what it is,
Okay.
as a safe sender. And I was like, wow, this is really fucking hard. Like, I don't want to do this. or like Mailchimp's Mandrill for like transactional emails.
That's the other one, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, I'm glad I don't work in that space, like app development, something like that.
Yeah. It seems, from what I've heard, it seems like maybe it's once you start having super huge lists and it's too expensive to use something like MailChimp because you'd be paying a fortune every time you want to send out to your whole list. It seems like maybe that's when they start moving over to the customized stuff because it's worth paying a developer to set it up, and then you do it on your own versus having to pay whatever, a gazillion dollars to like MailChimp or something to have. Like AppSumo at this point has like over 750, I'm sure way more now, but at one point I remember that I was saying, oh, we have like 750,000 emails. Like that would be crazy in most of these.
Well, if you have that many emails, though, I'm pretty sure you've got you're at a bigger level. So,
yeah, you can afford it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but why not then? If you can afford it, it still probably would be more cost effective to have like if you already have a developer, like I'm paying Johnny $60,000 a year or whatever it is to like do our other stuff. That's just now becomes one of his job responsibilities. He sets it up and he sends out emails. Like I don't know.
Well, what about downtime and like getting all the emails transferred over and then getting verified and having to go through the whole process? Like what's, as opposed to like I can just keep paying my service provider because I've been with them for so long and just keep it simple and just keep emailing.
So it sounds like your answer to Nick is don't worry about it. Keep it with the simple service.
Yeah.
Pay your monthly fee and don't get overcomplicated.
When your business grows, then worry about it. Just worry about growing your business, not your fucking email.
Well, like Derek Halpern like talked about this recently, and Ramit Sethi talked about this too. He's like, like which is better, like Quicken versus like what is it? Yeah, or something, right? And it's like it doesn't fucking matter. Like just pick one and use it, all right? Like it just doesn't matter, right? Like for me, I chose MailChimp because I just liked it, right? Like the whole little monkey thing, and it was just easy to use. It was easy to learn. Yeah.
High five when you send out
it's like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, like all right.
Or like gives like the rock horns.
Yeah.
I always love the finger and like this. He's sweating, like you're about to send it. He's like
my god,
sweat.
Yeah.
Or do you remember back in the day when the monkey was always on the top right, and he would like say something sarcastic, and if you clicked on it, it showed like a monkey video?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That's what we remember about MailChimp is the damn great interface.
Yeah. It just started becoming a little bit more limited to like what it is specifically that I wanted to and what you guys wanted to do too. So it's use MailChimp, use Aweber. Aweber is a little expensive. $20. It's $19 a month now.
I didn't realize there were so many mail servers except for the freaking SumoMe app where it's like, which one would you like to activate? I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. That's what I said before you got on, is like I signed up for Lead Pages and I went to like their integrations and it's like you have to scroll. There's like so many of them. I'm like, what are these?
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump onto this because we are burning through time here. This has actually been really fun and time is going by way fast. So we got, in the beginning when we were setting this up, we got in a little bit of a conversation about NDAs. Why don't you talk about that as a copywriter, as a marketer and stuff, your thoughts on NDAs for writing content and whatnot, and take us, go into it and see what your opinion is, I guess.
I don't have that big of a problem with NDAs. Just read through it, and if you don't like what something says on there, like talk to them about it, ask them to revise it, because just because somebody gives you an NDA does not mean that like you have to do it, right? Otherwise, you don't get the job. Like, and if your client to be is gonna like act like that, like, do you really want to work with them in the first place? If they're not gonna be willing to work with you. The only thing I don't like about NDAs is like there's got to be something in there, some type of language in there that says that so as a copywriter or like any type of intellectual property that you produce, you should be allowed to use that in your own like marketing materials. It's your shit. I mean, they can own the rights to the words and to like use it if you want to like set the deal up that way, or they can buy it from you. there's different ways you can do it, but you should at least be able to have the rights to like use it just purely for marketing materials. You know, for examples, like in books, presentations, your own emails to demonstrate a point, case studies. Like, there's got to be something in there that says you can use your own stuff. You know.
Yeah. Now, how far should that go? Should it just be like, I can give examples of the copy? Should it be like, I can use stats and just not use your name, but I can show stats of like a client, or and how do you negotiate that?
I've never really had to negotiate stuff like that.
They just did it. They just said,
it's
okay.
like, well, I rarely sign NDAs, mainly because like the people I work with like don't really need to give out NDAs. I think NDAs are pretty stupid. Like, what's so secret about your shit that nobody else has ever tried or done before? Like, nobody's gonna steal your shit.
Yeah.
You're not, curing world hunger, you know what I mean, or like AIDS or anything like that. Like something that matters, right?
AIDS.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you, the whole conspiracy theory, like, oh, they're holding out on the AIDS cure, right? Like, it's already invented. Anyways.
Where did that go?
I just remember this article about the conspiracy theory about like how.
I remember this email that I got about it.
Yeah, for cancer. Yeah, like all the cures. Yeah. Well, if you heard, North Korea has like one drug that'll cure AIDS, cancer, and like something else, polio or something. Like, did you hear about that a month ago?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was like, oh, North Korea is so great. Oh my god.
Yeah, they don't have food, but they have the cure to like every known disease on the face of the planet.
I think we just lost our North Korean audience.
Oh man, yeah, I just saw the stats drop down in North Korea, but South Korea is picking up.
Where's it? Somewhere in South America, they found a way to stop the transference of HIV from the mother to the uterus, to the unborn baby, or something like that. So like,
I could see an NDA, like if you're coming on as a scientist, like, and they're developing a cure, that would make sense. But like you said, like if you're
that's
just,
what he said.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with them. But like back to what you were saying is like when, for a reference to what we talked about earlier, our experience where you were teasing me that I was breaking NDA because it was just the stock like off the shelf sales funnels for dummies was like the process of the company, and they're like, oh, here's your NDA. It's like,
yeah.
This isn't an NDA. Like, there's no way you could hold this up in court because you can literally go in the books, Barnes and Noble, and like find this like printed in 1984. Well, that's a little soon, but you know what I mean. 94 maybe. So I see what you're saying is people are they throw them out there too much. Like they get too they think their stuff's so special, but it's like no one wants to steal your idea.
No, the best stuff is the giant copy on the bottom of an email. Did you guys talk about this at all?
No.
What the fuck is that?
Are you talking about like this
stuff.
Email?
Everything said in this email you can't use anywhere because Merrill Lynch doesn't want you. I already said network, and people would send me emails and then reply with this bunch of crap. I'm like, this information of you saying okay, isn't really that special.
The very first time I saw that, I listened to an interview of Lewis Howes on Mixergy, and I emailed him. I was like, man, that was great. Like, I had a similar background. So we're like talking about like our family history and about how we like had teachers in school tell us like we were dumb and how we bought into that and like had to overcome that, right? And every email he sent back had that, where it was like, this information is private between the two of us. You can't, you basically can't reproduce it. It's confidential. And it's like, dude, I'm not gonna share with anyone about like our, these personal conversation about like.
You're breaking the law right now, Jared.
No, because you can't reproduce it. It was like you can't.
He's gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, it's Lewis Howes. I'm sure is watching this right now, and I'm sure.
We should post this up on his Facebook. Be like, hey man, we were talking about you in this episode.
Yeah, right.
I talked about that secret
46
conversation
minutes
we had.
in. 46 minutes in, we've got this whole thing about you. You should watch it and tell your viewers to check us out.
If you listen to his podcast now, he's super open about stuff, so like I'm sure he'd have no issue. And I didn't say anything anyways, so.
He's all nervous now.
Me? Yeah. You can try to sue me. I'll just move.
All right. So what's another email question? I want to learn more here.
That's the question.
My next note was what sort of, and so I obviously didn't finish that one. So my other question was, my main question that I have for you, Gideon, is and this is more the process of it. So I have, like, I kind of talked about a little bit, but like I have like a opt-in, and that's all set up, and I feel like it's, you know, super good. But then at the end of it, it drops them into like my main list. And my question is, and Mike, you're probably, if you haven't thought of this yet, you probably, I'm sure, will soon, because we're so similar to what we're doing, is once they get put on my main list, whether it's from my opt-in and they get dropped on there, or they just sign up from my website, or whatever it is, they get on my main list. Right now I have no autoresponder, and I need something, but I don't know what kind to do. Do I do like another, like, I'm going to write out a sequence of things to engage them, or do I do like, I know Neville's done in the past, where he took like his best emails based off of his stats and comments and would send those to people. So if, you know, maybe someone's just jumping in my list and I've written some really amazing emails, those get sent out to them as if they're fresh. Like, what do I do with people who just opt into my list just because? Like,
yeah.
Okay, so I mean, like, the way that I see it going now is that you have your opt-in, and then you get everybody moved onto your master list, right? Like, I think your master list should be used for campaigns, email blasts. So, blast. I'm just gonna call it blast. I'm gonna piss Nick off.
He hates you.
So we're doing an email blast, right? No, I mean, you should just do it for your main list. Like, why not just write an email once a week? That should be like current, like, today topics. So why do you need an autoresponder in the first place?
So I think with Jared,
I don't write an email every single week.
Yeah, I think like what Jared's saying, like maybe it's like I'll have people signing up here and there and whatever. It's like maybe something should be set up to like, all right, I've got all these people coming in. You know, I see that, and I don't write that much. Should I just look at like some things in the past and set up an autoresponder that just fires off like the best 20 emails I had every other week, just so it stays in front of them, even though like I'm talking about this presently, but I just want to stick in front of them the things I said in the past because they're still relevant to whoever signed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or on the other side, should I have like, if I have a main course, like should I have an auto or responder that's set up that like warms them up to that and try to sell them the main course? Like, what do I do with my main list? I guess is like, I don't know. I've got ideas. I don't know which one would work or what I should do.
Test.
That takes time and work, though. Why don't you just tell me what to do?
To analysis paralysis, Jared.
Write your autoresponders. And like what I understand is like if you're gonna write out your autoresponders, why not just write once a week?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like we just got schooled, Mike. You know, like you go to a master and you're like, I want to learn kung fu. And he's like, wash the car.
I couldn't take the stone from his hand.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's not a bad idea. I'm not saying not to do it, but
Gideon, I like to overthink the things that I do in business, so I don't actually have to sell anything.
Don't you think I'd be a lot more rich and successful now if I didn't overthink things?
I like to live too much in my head before I actually take action steps. Don't tell me things to do.
Would you stop telling people how I operate my business? Jeez, Mike. No, that's good. I
like to look at the tea leaves and then take my next step.
or that lady I met who draws trees or reads your tree drawing, like has you draw trees and she tells you your life based on that. Remember? Anyway.
Yeah. What was that, episode 1 or 2?
No, it was like 4 or 5, I think. But
what is this one?
Well, obviously this is 9. Obviously, it was one of the ones that Gideon missed because he said what we're talking about.
What the hell are you talking about?
Dude, I won't go into it all, but short story, I was at a mall and I ran into this lady who was on the phone and I couldn't figure out what she did. She was loud, so I was eavesdropping, and then she gets off the phone and proceeds to tell me that she's like, I'm not a psychic. She's like, but I have people draw a picture of a tree and they like email it to her, and then she like Skypes them and she like gives them a reading based off of how they drew a tree. She tells them all about their life and gives them advice from their romance and their career and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you just gave me the exact definition of what a psychic is. It was a really trippy conversation.
But it's based on the way they draw it. But she was charging people, right?
Yeah, and I'm kicking myself for not asking her like her business model, because like I got that part, like, but I was like, how does she find clients? Is it all word of mouth? Like, how much does she charge? Does she have an autoresponder? And what does she say?
Some people, we were talking about this yesterday, like that guy, the Strong Lips email. Mm-hmm. There's some people that just just fall into it, and their product is so good that they could care less about any of this other crap that we talk about, this whole strategy thing, and they just do. That guy has a free product, a free opt-in for his email that's just basically a spreadsheet, a free app, and he sends emails for free all the time. So I'm sitting there like, how does this guy even make money? But everybody knows about him. So it's got to send him business like personal training or health course, something like that.
Something.
But he's like, I don't do Facebook, I don't do Instagram, I just do emails, and all he does in the emails is he replies to people who sends him questions. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and his content is so good. Like Mike sent me there, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. And then I like looked through it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this, just one page, his content's so good. I couldn't figure out how to get on his email list, so I had to get on the phone with Mike, and he had to walk me through. I'm like, that's when you know your content's good, is when people are calling tech support to figure out how to get on your email list.
How do I get signed up for this? Like, you're spending hours doing that. Like, I need a product that does that.
Exactly.
But his emails are awesome because that's where I see the effectiveness of emails, because he sends like literally one a day. I read every one of them. There's 2 emails I read a day. It's the one I get from the universe. Someone signed me up to this like 4 years ago, and the universe just sends you these really positive things, and you're like, hey, this is pretty awesome.
So many jokes. I'm just gonna let it pass. Keep going.
But the other one is Strong Lifts, and this guy just sends an email every single day, and it's always really intriguing. So he'll say, should I give up cardio? And I'm like, oh wow, what is that? And he talks about, people ask him, should I do cardio while I'm lifting this heavy weights? And he's like, no, you don't have to. And he goes in this whole reasoning why. So it just shows you that if you just squat and do bench press and push press, like that's all you need to do to get 6-pack abs and run well. He's like, but if you're going to do a marathon, obviously you have to train. So he breaks that side of that. But every single day he sends an email. I grab my phone and start reading it because it's so good. So if you can have that, if he came out with something, I'd probably buy it because I am that connected to this dude through his emails.
Depending, like, you could write like an email or 2 a week, archive it, and then just keep every email that you write, as long as it's not like time relevant or like based on a specific event, just add that to your autoresponder, to your main list.
I think he does that.
Because and then you just cycle it every year. Or maybe there's like a randomized option or something.
I saw that on, I can't remember, cause I've always used MailChimp, and then I've recently switched over, and I'm primarily using ActiveCampaign, but I do have something I'm still testing on MailChimp. So I can't remember which one it was, but one of them, I want to say it was ActiveCampaign. When I was in the settings, it gave me the option when I created a new form. In fact, I'm almost positive it's ActiveCampaign. It said if I clicked it, it was like send the last 5 emails.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's basically like an autoresponder right there. It's like, so when someone opts into your email list, they're going to, on whatever the time, I didn't look in to see what the sequence, like how, like they weren't going to do it all.
I think it's just the last one that you sent out.
Was it just the last one? Oh yeah, okay, maybe it was the last one. And it was basically like when they opt in, automatically send them the last campaign that you sent to your list.
Yeah.
Like, that's genius. Unless you're doing it every single day, then you wouldn't want to do that because they get 2 in
right.
So. All right, that's good advice. And you basically checked me on the whole, like, just do something. Just take some action, go write good emails, and stop trying to figure out how a robot can run your business for you.
No, I had somebody ask, and it's always a matter of content that people have like the hardest time with. They're like, what do we say to them?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what you say to them. Like,
ask your audience, man.
Yeah, I was like, talk to them, talk to your subscribers, like ask questions, put out a survey, call your clients and customers, and like just have a conversation.
Or like that Strong Lifts guy where he just advertises, hey, hit reply and ask me questions, and then he uses those. So like, if he gets 6 questions on Wednesday, that's like a whole week of emails right there, basically.
Right. Well, the good thing too is he also says, hit reply. Jack my toe. He says hit reply and keep it to 2 sentences because I can't read through all these. So naturally, I'm thinking this guy must get thousands of emails. So I'm like, oh, I want to be an email, like send it back to him. But sometimes I'm also like, well, maybe I shouldn't send this, or I should wait till this moment to send it. But it intrigues me that I'm like, he must be getting so many emails.
Yeah.
Because he made it just by that little thing to just keep it short because I don't have time to reply to
Or he wants you to think he gets so many emails.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Right. That's exactly what I'm saying, Jared. I wish you would pay attention to me when I'm talking.
I paid attention enough to know when you stop so I can go again.
Whatever.
All right. Anyways, okay. Mike, did you have any other questions before I wrap this up with Gideon?
No.
No. Okay. You're gonna wait till I go to hit stop broadcast. You're gonna have something. Okay. My last. We are right out of time, so we started on time today, so we actually can end on time. So, depending on how you answer this question. My last question is, if someone's just getting started, let's say I'm a business owner and I have my business and I'm moderately successful to successful, and I have my list and I've grown my list, but I'm wanting to utilize it more. Like, what would be advice you'd have to that person? Or if you don't want to do that one, just someone just getting starting out who's like, I don't even know if I should do a list. I don't know what to do. You could pick which one you want to answer. Multiple choice.
Hire me.
Hire you. Okay. Well, that's basically what me and Mike did.
Yeah.
So if we're your friends, we're going to call you at like 2 in the morning and go, hey, this isn't working. What do I do?
Good luck. Yeah, good luck trying to get a hold of me at 2 in the morning.
He's too busy working.
My phone automatically turns on the do not disturb thing from like 9 p.m. to like 8 in the morning. So it doesn't matter how many times like you call or text or whatever. Like I hear nothing.
You hear nothing. Okay. So you have any advice, or is it just hire you? Because that's actually pretty good advice.
Do you want to spend the time doing it and learning yourself? You know, there's plenty of courses and books to read from, or you can just hire somebody to do it for you. Like, why do you have to learn it? Why do you have to learn it? Why do you have to do it yourself? Unless you want to, then just do it yourself.
Yeah. Jeez, you said, like, I knew today was going to be good and informational, but, like, you said 2 things today that, like, really, like, kind of checked me and made me, like, stop and think. It's like that, obviously. Like, seriously, like, why do you have to do everything yourself? Which I've heard before, but it was kind of like, oh, duh, am I doing that again? Yeah. And then what you said is, like, don't worry about the autoresponder. Just send an email out. Like, it's your list. This is your business. Do some work. Like, those 2 things are, like, pretty powerful. Like, I'm going to really think about that. I think I need to start committing to a schedule for emails now instead of just being like, how can I come up with an autoresponder to keep them active while I'm not doing what I need to be doing?
See, like, with my list, like, I told them that I would start sending out emails more frequently. And I even told them, like, it might even be, like, 3 to 5 emails a week. I was like, feel free to unsubscribe if you don't want to get those emails. I had 3 people unsubscribe. Okay, the rest stayed on. But I mean, obviously, not everybody opened the email. You know, I think it was like a 37% open rate. But I'm not even emailing them that much. You know, I haven't emailed them at all last week, and I'm like, because I don't have anything to offer them right now, or even like anything to teach them. Or at least I don't feel that I do. I'm like so consumed and busy with like everything else that's going on in my personal life that I'm like, I'll email them when I get a chance.
You're ticking me off because those are like your better emails, and you're like, hey, let's talk about my personal life today.
Yeah.
People love it.
And then like you throw in business stuff. I'm like, geez, I feel like I got an insight on his life, and then he still gave us something at the end.
And I still bought something.
Still bought some.
No, if I had something to sell.
I know. I keep bugging you, like, dude, like, what are you gonna like sell something, and you don't. So I guess you're on that path of the Strong Lips guy, where it's almost becoming annoying that you don't have something to sell. Like, why can't I give you my money? Like, why don't you have a pretty shiny course or training thing or something like?
So I'm working on that. So yeah, I'm working on figuring out what it is, what type of product that I want to build. So I'm gonna be surveying my list and Reddit probably and the groups, and start figuring out what it is that I can make.
So if someone wants to get on that survey, where should they go to sign up to be able to get on that survey?
You go to GideonWalker.com. I think I still have the landing page right.
Cool. All right. Anything else you want to say, or any other questions for him, Mike?
No, I'm actually going to your website right now. Yeah, it's Gideon. I see that you've been fishing a little bit through Facebook for like questions and stuff, which is awesome.
Oh shit.
It's like Don't go to GideonWalker.com.
Yeah, don't go. I gotta turn the land page thing back on.
Okay, now I'm gonna go. I want to see what you guys are laughing about.
It's like a, yeah. I don't want to blow up the spot.
It's just bare bones WordPress site.
Was there something there?
No, so I started testing with different like opt-ins and things like that. So I just left it open because I was like, I'm not getting any traffic anyways, right?
I was like, I thought I saw something there before.
Yeah, you talked about that. Was it last week where you like moved it over and, or maybe you just told me that privately where it didn't all.
Yeah, I switched hosting. Yeah, so switched hosting and I lost everything that I had because I thought I downloaded everything.
Oh my god.
And then I already canceled my other hosting, so the database and all that's deleted already before I figured it out.
Oh man.
You should have hired an expert, is what I'm hearing. You should have hired someone to move that over for you.
I should have.
You're like, yeah, in hindsight, I wish I had.
No, you know what? I mean, I know how to do it. You know.
It's a little late, but.
All right.
All right. I can't do it. Damn it.
Are you trying to do a sound effect? There you go. Okay, when I start hearing the sound effects, I know it's time to end the show. So. All right, guys, head over to Facebook and search for Entrepreneur Roundtable. If you can hear me, go to search for Entrepreneur Roundtable and ask to be added to the group. Imagine if you had a pie. Someone gives you a pie and they cut it into 4 pieces. If you're only watching this show, you're only allowing yourself to eat 1 piece. Oh, wait, Mike's here. We should talk about pie. A healthy quiche.
A healthy quiche.
You're only allowing yourself to eat 1 piece. Go to the group, sign up, get in, and you'll get the other 3 pieces of the healthy quiche pie. And your life will be better. With that, that's all I have for this week. Last chance. Anything you guys want to
add? Check out my blog, paleoriot.com. Oh, another thing. I'm looking for inspirational stories from people. So if you have an inspiring story about weight loss or something you've done in your life that is really health-related, or just some amazing accomplishment where you were in a really dark place and got out of it, I want to spotlight. I'm starting to spotlight a lot of these on my blog. So reach out to me, Mike@paleoriot.com, or you can go to paleoriot.com. You can see the other inspirational stories that I have on there, and you can either send a video talking about it, or I'll just send you questions. You can fill them out, and it's really easy. It takes, it's really fast, and I'll just throw you up there, and that's it.
Actually, I have something pretty similar. If you are an entrepreneur or a small business owner, I actually have an interview series I'm doing called Origin Stories. So same thing, you can go to my website, and there's a little link on there where you can fill out the Google form, or you can email me, jarednelrod@gmail.com, and I'll send it over to you. And same thing, you get featured and get your business featured on my site as a blog article. You can show all your friends, look, I'm on the internets. And yeah. How about you, Gideon? Anything to throw out yet, or just hire you if they need you?
Plugin won't work.
Gideon needs WordPress help, so if you could email him at GideonWalker@GideonWalker.com, or Gideon@GideonWalker.com. That'd be great.
It's not working.
Do you have a sound effect you're trying to get out before I stop this? Okay.
Me? No.
Okay, we're done. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.